This is 2 News Live.
Great to be with you. Thanks for joining us on 2 News Live. I'm Brian Schnee. A fine Friday it is, October the 6th. We're going in depth tonight on a couple topics. We're going to start by looking ahead at some of the things you can do this weekend for the entire family. We'll get there in a sec. Also, we're hoping to speak with Paul Nelson, who's been tracking the solar eclipse. We're about a week out from something that should bring a lot of people to the state of Utah, specifically some central Utah towns. Hoping to have Paul shortly to dive into that. But before we get there, here's a look at what's making headlines right now. You can find all these stories on our website, KUTV.com. You've probably heard of this one before, but there are new developments in the Corey Richins murder case. New court documents show Richins is scheduled back in court November 3rd in Park City. We were tipped off to this maybe happening a month ago, but those documents were just filed. Essentially, it's a meeting between both sides to see if you can resolve the case without going to trial. The next step would be a preliminary hearing. Also in your headlines tonight, Daniel Woodruff been talking about this. Demand for mortgages have hit the lowest level since the mid-1990s. This as mortgage rates keep climbing. A Utah economist says even with the higher rates, home prices in Utah remain high. That's because Utah still technically in a housing shortage. Also in our headlines tonight, dozens of people are filling up the pantry after the Salt Lake City Mission hosted a special food box giveaway. Organizers say it's an opportunity for anyone who needs food to pick up those extra groceries and get some help. As a reminder, it's right around the corner. K-Jazz, once again, your home for the Utah Jazz. They play their first preseason game this Sunday. It's already basketball season, 7 p.m. against the LA Clippers. You can watch this game and all, of course, those non-nationally televised games this season. K-Jazz, Channel 14. As we go in depth tonight, you can always get in touch with us during the show or just about any of the general topics. Would love to hear from you. Use the hashtag 2NewsLive. Just send a message away. Facebook, Twitter, known as X, and Instagram. Send a DM there. All right, talking about some things you can do this weekend. It's not the winter just yet, so we're not talking about hitting the slopes, but a lot of resorts have off-season, shoulder season, if you will, opportunities. And it's a final for Snowbasin coming up later this weekend on Sunday for Oktoberfest.
What is coming up this Sunday? What does this day mean for you guys?
Yeah, this weekend is our final weekend of summer operations. Saturday, we have the gondola running and kind of lunch up here at our big Earl's Lodge in the base area. And then Sunday is Snowbasin Oktoberfest. It's our last Oktoberfest of the year. Also, the gondola will be running for those scenic fall lift rides.
What are the colors and foliage looking like up there right now? What is eye-catching for so many?
Oh, they're definitely at their peak right now. So Snowbasin, I guess we have a big tree diversity, I guess is how you could say it. We get the reds and we get the yellows. So the reds really sprouted up last weekend and they still look really good right now. I'm just looking over my computer monitor at the colors. The reds look really good. Reds, oranges, kind of purples. But the yellows are starting to come in. The yellows are starting to come in this weekend, which is really exciting. So this is kind of that transition period where we have all the colors. It's usually the reds come in and the reds fade out, and then the yellows come in, then the yellows fade. And right now it's kind of that perfect sweet spot right in the middle where you get everything.
I think what's interesting about your Oktoberfest compared to other events, it's kid-friendly and dog-friendly. And that is not something that to get both in Utah for most events is not very easy. So it sounds like you really truly can bring the entire family, where some places say it, but there's always one restriction on something.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. We're not a watershed kind of resort like some of our other resorts in Utah are. So you can't bring dogs to Snowbasin, and we allow dogs in the gondola as well. So if you want to take the family up to the top of the mountain, go on a scenic lift ride, which is really beautiful right now with the fall colors. You could bring the dog in, you could bring the kids, you could bring the whole family. Everybody's welcome here at our event, and it's definitely a great just kind of fall family activity.
When you look ahead at the upcoming season, what stands out to you in terms of maybe new and exciting or things you've been waiting to get up and running here for a little while?
It's crazy. Yesterday was actually 50 days until opening day, so it's really just around the corner. And last season, we and pretty much every resort in Utah opened early. So if you think about it that way, we could be only 40 days away from skiing This winter, we made a lot of changes to the mountain this off season. We have a new chairlift coming in, Des Moines Express. It will be over on the strawberry area of our mountain, and it will really transform the skiing experience in that region. That's the big ticket item. That's what everyone's really excited about. And then we have some other kind of exciting additions. There's going to be a big new patio at the base of Strawberry, heated patio, has some fire pits. It's a great spot to hang out on a winter day. We're expanding parking again. It's our second parking expansion in 3 years. We already had more parking than any ski resort in Utah and Colorado, and we're going to expand it even more and just try to increase access, to the product, which everybody loves.
All right, let's go in depth on something called the eclipse. May have heard of this. Small towns in central Utah, 8 more days to really get ready for this eclipse, where hundreds of thousands of people are expected to come here to Utah to see it and maybe just move around the state to see it. Public officials in Richfield, so central Utah, say they are very excited, but at the same time, they're a little worried about the strain on their resources. Paul Nelson spent part of the day in Richfield, kind enough to join us on the ride back north tonight. Paul, what are they saying in central Utah about the influx they're expecting?
Well, the influx of what they're expecting, I mean, they have maybe 8,000 people in the town, but when it comes to how many tourists are expected to come in, that they say they can't really fully trust the projections. I mean, UDOT gave a prediction about 318,000 coming into the state overall. People in Sevier County have been told to prep for around 30 to 50,000. But at the same time, though, officials with Richfield say that's really just a guess, and they really don't know how many people are coming. So that's just one part of the problem. Another part is they don't have very many police officers in Richfield because, it's a relatively small town. So they have about 10 on rotation at all times, and that's kind of mostly what they can do. But if you have several thousand people passing through Richfield, even if they don't stay there, police services could be pretty stretched out. And one thing that was really interesting what they said is that, matter of fact, if they don't really have good cell phone service down there anyway. Matter of fact, we had some problems when we were trying to feed back our stuff. But they say if you have thousands more people trying to use their cell phones in Richfield, they really only have a couple of towers. So that could overwhelm the communication system. Therefore, might be trickier, calling for help if you have an emergency. So there are several things that they're worried about, but still at the same time, they are very excited to host as many people as they can over there, because they say this is kind of a once-in-a-lifetime thing. They don't really have a chance to kind of host an eclipse like this. So, I mean, you could have problems when it comes to police, medics, just calling for help in general, but still, they say that they believe that they can handle this.
Paul, you mentioned some of the projections, especially that large number put out by UDOT. What are they expecting in Richfield, though? Like, what are they expecting on the local level? Did they pinpoint a number, or did they just say we're ready for whatever comes our way?
Yeah, they really have no idea how many people are going to come. They cannot predict it. But here's one thing that they're doing. They know all the hotels are full. So what thing they are doing is they're going to rent out space at the park so that people can set up tents and people can camp out at the park. And they have other RV spaces that they're going to clear out on the west side of I-15. They're going to also allow people to rent out their lawns for anybody who wants to camp there as well. So it's one of those situations where they're making room where room really normally hasn't been in the past. So that's one of the things that they're doing, just try to get ready for what could be just a huge amount of visitors coming to a very small town.
Perhaps, maybe coming to central Utah, Woodstock-like crowds in Richfield. Paul, thank you for the coverage. I know you've done a couple pieces on this. Keep them coming. Meteorologist Chase Thomas in here to talk about the eclipse. Yeah. So, can you explain kind of how things should look? I know you've been talking about maybe should be a nice night to see what we want to see.
Yeah, of course, this is not tomorrow. This is next Saturday.
Yeah,
so we're still more than a week out. But right now, it looks like maybe we might luck out. With no rain and snow, which is good news, we might have some cloud cover, but it doesn't look too thick. So partly cloudy skies. Temperatures pretty comfortable in central and southern Utah during the late morning hours in the 50s and 60s for that ring of fire. And don't forget that you need your glasses. It's not a full eclipse. It's that ring of fire. So you're still going to see the sun.
And I know that there are places locally you can pick some up, right?
Clark Planetarium, I'm not sure about other stores, but I know the Clark Planetarium has those glasses. You can also get them, make sure they're the right ones though on Amazon.
Why is this eclipse getting so much attention in your eyes?
Because it's in Utah. It doesn't happen very often. So, we have the Ring of Fire eclipse, and we have the full solar eclipse for next year. But this happens depending on every so many years. So it just doesn't happen very often, and it's happening in Utah.
I've come to grips that you just like saying Ring of Fire. I think that's what it is.
I like Johnny Cash.
Thank you.
Yep.
That works.
Is that where you're going?
I was.
Okay,
Yep.
I got it.
Take a look at your forecast.
Okay, everyone is now singing Ring of Fire
Yes,
in their
they are.
head. Okay, let's get to your forecast. We are dealing with, of course, early October weather, and with that, we're losing daylight. And I don't know if you're a fan of this, but some folks are. We're going to see our sunsets now below 7 o'clock in the evening for about 5 months now. The next time we'll see that sunset past 7 o'clock will be March 10th. Of 2024. And during late September and early October, we lose a lot of daylight, roughly about 2 minutes and 40 seconds. So it's that time of year. And typically we start to see our first fall freeze. Now, I'm not forecasting any frost or freezing temperatures. However, our average first freeze is October 19th. So if you think about when should I winterize my sprinklers, in the next couple weeks is probably a good bet. Earliest on record is September 13th back in 1928, but the latest was mid-November just a couple years ago in 2021. Hopefully you have any fun Friday evening plans. Weather is fantastic. Right now, upper 60s, low 70s. We'll be cooling off into the 50s, though, later tonight. So a little chilly out there, but not too bad. We'll see lots of 40s for lows from eastern to central Utah, and tonight in St. George at 56 degrees. But it'll be a pretty mild day tomorrow in the upper 80s. Lots of 80s down in southern Utah. Northern Utah, we'll see temperatures a few degrees above normal, climbing into the mid-70s. A lot of events going on for your Saturday, and the weather will be fantastic. Oktoberfest, of course, at Snowbird and Snowbasin by Sunday, and the weather is beautiful. So here's your forecast for the Utah State-Colorado State football game tomorrow evening in Cache Valley. Kickoff, it's 70 degrees, but again, by the end of the game, it's Cache Valley, it gets cold. We'll be in the mid-50s, so maybe a heavier coat you want to bring towards the second half of the game. High pressure is right on top of us by Sunday and Monday, and that's when temperatures peak, but take a look what's coming our way by next week. The very latest has the storm now moving in Tuesday night and into Wednesday, and bringing in a little bit of rain and some cooler temperatures and maybe a little bit of snow in the mountains. Probably not going to get a ton of moisture, though, down in southern Utah, but right now it does look a little bit wetter. We'll see if this happens. Still a ways out, but a 1/4 inch to a 1/2 inch of rain falling with the storm through Wednesday night. And temperatures will be cooling off, even down in southern Utah, even though you're not going to get the rain. St. George, upper 80s through Monday, mid-80s on Tuesday, a few clouds, temperatures dropping into the 70s Wednesday through Friday, with those overnight lows going from the 50s back into the 40s. Salt Lake, a perfect weekend, put it on repeat. Monday's our warmest day, though, getting close to 80. Overnight lows, not bad in the 50s. A few more clouds rolling in on Tuesday. Again, the rain arrives Tuesday night, showers on Wednesday, and that's when we'll cool off into the 50s. So I've lowered the temperature just a little bit, but nothing too cold. And then as we head into Thursday and Friday at the end of the week, we're climbing back into the 60s, very fall-like. And again, the eclipse is next Saturday, and it looks partly cloudy and dry. So hopefully it continues to stay that way for all those going to central and southern Utah. Again, we're going to still see the eclipse here in northern Utah, but only about 90% of that Ring of Fire.
There it is.
There it is.
I know I'm going to be humming
I had
that
to say it
thing.
one more time.
Yeah, all the way home tonight. Hey, I wanted to show you some foliage. I know you like it.
Oh, yeah, I
I
love
know
it.
you always love seeing the vibrant colors. Let's go through a couple of these that were sent our way. I think this is Siege
I think
Adams.
so. Well, we
Siege
know it's
Adams.
Provo Canyon.
Well, I know where it is. I think the ominous clouds in the background there
I was
is
talking
pretty
to my
cool.
photographer yesterday because I was out in the fall foliage yesterday, and he was telling me that he was at Provo Canyon, and he's never seen Provo Canyon look like it is right now. So maybe head up towards Sundance, the Alpine Loop this weekend. Going to be busy, but going to be spectacular.
You've been here before. You and Francis
Few
are
days ago.
frequent flyers in Mill Creek Canyon on the right days that Francis can be
Odd
off
days,
leash.
yes.
Yep, that's
You'll
right.
see us.
So obviously, gorgeous yellows. The aspens are popping up high.
Yep.
Very impressive.
Beautiful.
What else do we have here?
Ooh, I love that one.
Up. Let's go back. Sorry, user error. It happens once in a while.
Okay.
Chris Williams, steady as can be. Let me get
Yes.
back in the light here.
Okay.
That is vibrant. I mean, you're getting all the colors in one here in Bountiful.
We are. I mean, that's a stunning photo. This was, I think, shortly right after our latest storm, so you still have that low cloud cover. But again, just a few days ago, and there's still a little bit of green. So again, this weekend is peak, peak, peak.
All right, so if the time to go
there you
is
go.
definitely this this
Aspens.
weekend here.
Yep.
And I know this is one you like, because every time I've told you over the last few years, hey, I went out here for this hike, you said, how are the aspens?
I mean, I'm a sucker for like the white. I mean, we're getting really into these photos, but the white aspens.
You got nowhere to go.
With the golden leaves, beautiful, and then you'll get the pine trees in the distance, and there might be a little bit of snow on the peaks of those mountains, like, you know, the pass.
Speaking of mountains, right? It's almost time. I think, you know,
Seasons colliding.
I know, seasons colliding in one photo there with the vibrance of the colors near to us. I believe that Sugarloaf general area here, if I have my vantage point correct, but could be another great snow year. We'll see.
It's going to be. We're going to be
Thank you.
positive
I was
about it.
waiting for that. Should be another great snow year.
Yep.
Thanks for watching 2 News Live. We're back here Monday at 5:30. Hope to have you again with us. Get outside. Go take your own pictures. Send them in on Chime In. We want to see what you're seeing out there on that weekend drive. Have a wonderful weekend. For Chase, I'm Brian. Have a
Take
great
care.
night.